Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to Ibrahim Traoré's era. Today we bring you not just news but a shift in power. A story that signals the end of an old era and the rise of a new one. Because 900 Russian special forces have landed in Burkina Faso today. Not to visit, not to negotiate, but to protect. To protect Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the young leader who has become the nightmare of foreign powers and the hope of his people. They came quietly, but their presence speaks loudly. In a world where foreign governments tried everything to stop Burkina Faso's rise, from economic sabotage to silent assassination plots, Russia made its choice. Protect the revolution. Protect Traoré. And now Burkina Faso is no longer alone. It began with betrayal, a coup attempt, organized not from Burkina Faso but from the shadows outside it. A senior military officer in the Burkinabè army was bought with foreign money and promised power if he could remove Traoré. But the plan collapsed. Intelligence operatives loyal to Traoré caught the officer with evidence. He had bags of cash, coded messages, and a mapped-out coup plan. The conspirators were arrested. Their confessions told the rest. And that was the final warning. Traoré knew. Russia knew. Africa watched. Behind closed doors in Russia, a decision was made. Russia deployed elite military force to immediately come down and protect Traoré. This was part of the partnership agreement Russia had with Burkina Faso after Traoré's latest visit to Moscow. And so one morning, without fanfare, Russian military aircraft touched down on Burkinabè soil, and the game changed forever. When 900 Russian special forces landed in Burkina Faso, the world asked, who are they? What makes these soldiers different? These are not ordinary troops. They are part of Russia's Zaslon units, elite protectors, trained not just for combat but for one purpose: protect Russia's allies from the shadows. Many of these men trained in icy forests and deserts far from the public eye. They speak little. They move silently. They execute orders without hesitation. For years they were assigned to protect Russian diplomats in conflict zones like Syria, Libya, and Central African Republic. But this time their mission is different. They are not protecting buildings. They are not guarding oil fields. They are protecting a man, a leader, a symbol, Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Their orders are simple: defend Traoré against all threats, foreign or domestic, secure key national infrastructure, refineries, gold mines, communication hubs, train Burkinabè forces in advanced surveillance and counterintelligence, operate in silence. This is not a public alliance. There were no press conferences, no joint parades, only one goal: protection, strategically placed across Ouagadougou, Bobo-Dioulasso, and at undisclosed military bases. These forces blend in, yet carry out some of the most sensitive operations in the country. Their presence has changed the power balance. Burkina Faso's enemies, both internal and external, know that any attempt to remove Traoré is now a direct confrontation with Russia's shadow army. That's a price few are willing to pay. In private intelligence circles, analysts say he cannot be touched. And so, under the hot Burkinabè sun, protected by silent men from the frozen north, Captain Traoré now leads without fear. But how did this alliance begin? The answer lies not in today's headlines, but in conversations that happened years ago. This partnership between Burkina Faso and Russia didn't happen overnight. It was not forged in war, nor in desperation. It was built through quiet conversations, shared frustrations, and one common understanding: Africa deserves its freedom. Long before the Russian planes landed, before the soldiers in black boots stepped onto Burkinabè soil, something was happening in secret. In 2022, after Captain Ibrahim Traoré took power, he looked around and saw the problem clearly. Western nations that once promised help were now giving ultimatums, loans disguised as traps, military aid tied to surrender, gold taken from the ground, but no prosperity left behind. Traoré asked himself, where does this road lead? He looked for an alternative, and Russia answered. It started quietly. Traoré sent his advisors to Moscow, not as beggars, but as equals. Russia did not lecture. Russia listened. Conversations turned into meetings, meetings turned into plans, and plans turned into promises. Russia did not ask for gold mines. Russia did not demand policies. Russia made one offer: security, training, protection, on your terms. Traoré accepted. But the alliance went deeper. Both Traore and Russian leaders understood something many African politicians forget. True freedom is impossible without security. Traore needed protection, not just for his presidency, but for the dream he carries. A dream of a Burkina Faso where gold is refined at home, farms feed the people, technology is built by Burkinabè hands, and leaders answer to the people, not foreign powers. Russia knew this fight. They had walked that road after the collapse of the Soviet Union, when their own sovereignty was under threat. So they chose to help him stand. This wasn't charity. It was a strategy. Because as Russia strengthens its ties across Africa, every success story weakens the old powers of the West. And so the handshake was made. Not for the cameras, not for the headlines. A silent alliance, forged in respect. And when the threats came, Russia kept its word. When the first reports of Russian boots on Burkinabè soil reached Western capitals, alarm bells rang, not because of the number of troops, not because of weapons, but because of what it meant. For decades, Western governments controlled the African narrative. They didn't just trade, they dictated. They didn't just invest, they owned it. From gold mines to banks, from military bases to media channels, control was quiet but absolute. And now, in a country many thought insignificant, that control was cracking. Burkina Faso chose a different road. When Traore aligned with Russia, it wasn't just military protection he gained. He shattered an unspoken rule. African leaders must choose the West or be punished. That rule no longer applies. Western think tanks began writing panicked reports. Russian influence in the Sahel is growing. Democracy under threat in Burkina Faso. Urgent action required to contain Russian expansion. But in Ouagadougou, Traore didn't flinch, because he understood. Those voices didn't fear for Burkina Faso's future. They feared losing control over its present. And here's why the alliance terrifies them. Traore is now almost impossible to remove. Russia helps amplify Burkina Faso's voice globally. Gold and resources now stay home, not exported cheaply. One Western diplomat, speaking anonymously, said, "If Traore succeeds, he'll inspire an entire continent." That's the real danger. From Mali to Niger, to the Central African Republic, eyes are watching, leaders are thinking, citizens are questioning. What if we too said no? What if we too chose partners who respect, not control? That is why the West fears the Russian presence in Burkina Faso, because this isn't just about 900 soldiers. It's about a battle for the future of Africa itself. And in that battle, Traore now has allies. In Ouagadougou, the capital of Burkina Faso, the streets remain busy. Children play football on dusty roads. Traders sell bananas, tomatoes, and dried fish. Life looks normal, but behind that normality something has changed. At key government buildings, gold refineries, and military bases, unseen eyes watch. Not just Burkinabè forces, but the Russian special units, silent, disciplined, and precise. Unlike local forces, Russian operatives do not patrol publicly. Their strength is invisibility. They use drones patrolling key zones, advanced satellite communication interceptors, counter-surveillance teams blending in with civilians. Any suspicious movement, any strange vehicle, any gathering of unknown men, is monitored, recorded, and when necessary neutralized. It's not just about protecting Traore's physical life. It's about securing the dream he is building. Russian operatives train Burkinabè soldiers in cybersecurity to prevent digital attacks, counter-espionage to block internal betrayals, advanced weapons handling and defense techniques. But Russia's protection goes beyond the physical. At the information level, Russian media outlets now amplify Burkina Faso's message. Russian advisors help manage propaganda from hostile foreign powers. False stories planted in Western media are countered with hard facts, spread through African networks. On the diplomatic stage, Russian envoys defend Traore's policies at the UN Security Council. Moscow blocks punitive measures against Burkina Faso in international forums. And for every attempt to sabotage Traore's presidency, whether by destabilizing currency, disrupting gold exports, or political isolation, Russia counters quietly but powerfully. Today, Traore leads a country once called the poorest, but now it's a country feared for its independence. Burkina Faso may not have nuclear weapons, it may not have billions in foreign reserves, but it has something far more dangerous: a leader the people believe in, and who cannot be easily removed, protected by his people, protected by his ancestors. and now protected by Russia. And so the message to the world is clear: try if you dare, but Burkina Faso will not fall. This is not the end of the story, this is only the beginning. A new era has arrived, Ibrahim Traoré's era,